Hello everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here, and this of course is Up From the Underground presents Football Week 7. With me as always are my two fantastic panelists. The one right in front of me, it took him 23 years to see the Goonies, the notorious Mr. Beagle.
24.
And the man who feels that if you wake up with your face in a plate full of nachos, it's just a regular Tuesday, Captain Shenanigans.
Or Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
So, Week 6. That was without a doubt one of the most exciting weeks we've had this season in football.
Very exciting weeks we've had in football in 10 years.
Let me just put it this way. To quote you, Captain, I got so much Manning, my head almost exploded.
And it wasn't even all that much Manning. It's more Manning than we're used to, which is the sad part.
I never saw, I'll tell you one thing, I watched the press conference of Eli Manning after they literally thwarted the 49ers. I saw this guy oozing with so much confidence as he was talking to the press. Like, this guy knows that he is a golden god in the world of the quarterbacks right now. Wasn't a bad week for New York football as a whole. I'm telling you, that Jets game was a very interesting game to watch.
Well, you have to take into consideration a couple of factors. One, they finally used Tebow the way he's supposed to be used.
Finally.
Two, they didn't give Mark Sanchez that many passes. He only attempted 18, and that's the way you win a football game with that quarterback.
Mark Sanchez.
Three, they ran for 252 yards against one of the league's worst run defenses, especially since they were without their best linebacker. So, wasn't as glorious a victory as you make it out to be. I honestly think it's an aberration.
Well, I didn't think that it was, I didn't say that, I just said it was an interesting game.
Definitely interesting.
I mean, Sanchez showed a little bit more confidence now that he got a couple of weapons back in his arsenal in Keller and Hill.
Yeah.
True.
Here are a couple of teams that I want to talk about that really are starting to really rub people the wrong way. I want to go back to what you said, Mr. Beagle, before the season began about the Dallas Cowboys. Do you want to retract that statement yet?
No, and I'll tell you why.
We're only 6 games in.
Because they won't shut up about the Cowboys right
I'm
now.
still worried, man.
In that loss to Baltimore, they still looked good. They still marched down the field to get the score.
You know, but
They
a lot of
still
teams,
recovered
a
the
lot of
onside
teams
kick.
do that to the Ravens. The Ravens are a strong team, but they allow so much yardage on their
Cincinnati
defense.
didn't.
Well, I don't even know how to talk about Cincinnati.
Cincinnati
at
is
this
a
point.
whole different bag of beans, man. They're just...
I was right.
The AFC North is a whole different bag of beans right now.
Well, the NFC North is too.
So, yeah, they're all... Oh, boy.
The Ravens are another team I wanted to talk about because the Ravens, I don't know what's going to happen with them for the remainder of the season because I feel that even though they've lost some serious key factors in their defense,
Oh, boy.
Flacco still has a lot of weapons on the offense, but I don't know if that defense is going to be the same. And quite frankly, at this point, I think the AFC North could be anybody's conference to steal.
AFC North is anybody's conference to steal, and well, technically it's a division.
Yeah.
The loss of Ray Lewis is a monumental blow to this team and this franchise. It's not easy to recover from either, so he may be out the preseason next year
It's
as
the
well.
triceps.
Triceps is very difficult to recover from because it's a very little used muscle as far as when you think you're using it, but in reality you're using it every day,
All
doing
the
everyday
time.
things.
Yep.
Do you guys think that this may in fact be a career-ending blow, or do you think he may actually be able to come for another season?
The day Ray Lewis hangs up his cleats will be the day that Jason Hansen hangs up his cleats.
Ugh.
Oh, man.
I was going to think maybe
Was he,
David
like 50
Akers.
years old?
Hansen, he's 42, oldest player in
42.
the NFL.
Jeez, man.
I mean, and then you take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles, who are basically a massive mess. I mean, I know that you said, Captain, that he's now a proud dog owner, Michael Vick, but he
Yeah.
definitely isn't a cat person after last week.
Yeah, I just don't think we should keep Vic near any animal of any sort, whether it be a team nickname or the actual physical.
Or the head coach of Andy Reid,
Fuzzy.
who looks like a walrus.
Do you
He
actually...
does look like a walrus.
Do you think that this may be Andy Reid's last season with Philly?
Definitely.
Because some people are saying, most people... No. Okay, Mr. Beagle,
Definitely.
Mr. Beagle, you first. Captain, you next.
Convince me, seriously.
There are 3 people in the NFL who will never lose their job against their will. Bill Belichick, Rex Ryan, and Andy Reid.
Okay, Rex Ryan because he'll eat the person trying to, fire him.
No. Bill Belichick because even if the Patriots slump, he's still a brilliant coach.
He wasn't when he was on Cleveland.
He was. He just didn't have much to work with.
Oh, what are you kidding me? No, that was terrible.
Rex Ryan because he is the perfect coach for the Jets. Even if they lose, he's still a perfect coach for a secondary New York team. Let's be honest, the Jets right now are a secondary New York team. And Andy Reid is just so synonymous with the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, it's like the Dallas Cowboys firing Jimmy Johnson because they once went 9-7. It's not going to happen.
People have said the same thing about, McNabb. He was synonymous with Philadelphia, the Eagles. He was the quarterback.
The Super Bowl contending quarterback.
The Super Bowl contending quarterback.
In
They won
football?
the NFC East how many years under his leadership?
In football, the head coach can sometimes be more important than a player. It's the only sport where I believe this is true.
Of course, but the number of mistakes and just total WTF moments that Andy Reid has put himself in, especially this season, and going back to last season, I think it puts his job. He's in the hot seat.
Let's be clear about this, though.
Up.
Andy Reid is not the one who calls plays. He has an offensive coordinator for that, and they just fired
the defensive
coordinator.
Juan Castillo. Yeah, they just fired him.
Which is good, because he had no business
quarters.
being a defensive coordinator to begin with.
Of course not.
Here's the thing.
But you know who hired him in the first place?
Another one who may never get fired is Pete Carroll, the way he's acting.
Oh boy, we'll get to Pete Carroll in just a
Cheesy
minute.
Pete's, that guy's
Literally, Cheesy Pete's.
Yeah.
Here's my thoughts, guys. I feel that Andy Reid is going to be gone only if the Eagles just don't end up making the playoffs. If he gets them to the playoffs, and there's still a very good chance that they can, because let's face it, they're 500. That's not terrible.
They are 500.
Yet.
They're the worst 500 team I've ever seen.
No, they actually should be 3-3. The way they've been playing recently. Oh my goodness gracious! It's just.
Hey, the Bills are 3-3 too.
You know, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about two specific teams, because I want to know what your guys' thoughts are as far as how real these teams are. I know that I'm going to bring back my favorite name in football right now, Matt Ryan.
Oh boy.
Let's talk about this team. And then there was one.
Okay.
There's one undefeated team. It's the Atlanta Falcons. But just how real is Matt Ryan as far as leading this team to the wins? Because in the last 2 games, because let's face it, they've played 6 games. In the very beginning, especially when they played the San Diego Chargers in Week 2, they looked dominant. But practically getting away from Carolina and Oakland with a squeak. And that's the second team I want to talk about, the Oakland Raiders. How real are these two teams? How can Matt Ryan close? Because these 2 games are 2 left for chance.
You're going to have to break out a stopwatch for me, because I can talk for hours about these 2 teams.
We'll keep it to a minimum.
Okay.
Get the main facts out.
Let's start with Oakland.
Sure.
Here is a fact. Last season, they started out 4-2. And then they got Carson Palmer. They are 5-10 since.
Yeah.
He is a talented quarterback. He's only 32, which
He's young as far as quarterbacks go.
he's middle-aged for a quarterback.
Yeah.
What was it? 40's the new 20 in the NFL.
40's still 40. I don't care what anybody says. He is not helping this team. He was not a great quarterback in Cincinnati. He was just a good quarterback. And quite honestly, he's not a good quarterback anymore. He's a mediocre quarterback. And that's the biggest reason why Oakland is failing. That, and there's been way too many personnel changes over the past season and a half that you just can't find a rhythm with these new guys.
I thought he found some pretty good rhythm last week, though. They almost won it.
Yeah, but not because of their offense.
Nah. A lot of it has to do with lucky breaks on defense and Sebastian Janikowski. I mean, as rotund, he's not even rotund. He's just a huge dude.
He's a slab.
Yeah, he's big old slab. You know, as funny as he looks, he's actually a really good kicker, and I would not be surprised if he winds up in the Hall of Fame one day. He's just that good.
And now the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh boy.
So, Matt Ryan has been struggling the past couple of weeks, but he's been lifted up by his receiving core doing a great job.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yes.
This 3-headed monster that is the Atlanta running game in Michael Turner, Jason Stelling, and Jacquizz Rodgers just running over and around everybody that they face.
It's a steamroller, really. Just watching him.
The great defense led by John Abraham, the old-timer, and Asante Samuel, who
Philadelphia
who had
passed off.
Yeah, who
Couldn't
had a pick
believe
six.
that.
Who had a pick six this past week.
That was
Carson
amazing.
Palmer.
Wow. If you ever get the chance to, like, Google video that, at least watch that clip.
I still remember that hit last year when he was on Philly. That was
absolutely
crazy.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a beautiful interception. You read the route perfectly.
It was a thing of beauty.
Snagged it and was completely untouched all the way to the end zone.
Yeah. Right.
Now here's the biggest thing about Atlanta. They're 6-0. They're on a bye this upcoming week.
Exactly.
And we have yet to see them at their best.
It's true. I think the only time we really saw them at their best was in week 2 against San Diego. That's when I really saw them as a predominant threat.
Do I think they're going to go undefeated? No.
I don't think so.
Nah.
Because there are too many strong teams in the NFC.
And they've had a weak schedule so far.
Yeah, they really haven't faced, except for maybe Denver?
Yeah, but, I mean, if you look at the combined records of the teams they've already faced, I believe they have a combined record of 5-11.
Well, I know that at this point, Denver and San Diego are 500.
Yeah, so it's like half the league.
It comes down to this. Can any team in the NFC supplant them for the NFC title game? Because let's face it, the NFC is going to have to go through Atlanta at this point. I mean, there's only one. Yeah. I mean, how many other teams in the NFC have one loss? One, the Bears.
They're one of the strongest that Atlanta has faced.
You know, so it's gonna either go through Chicago or Atlanta, and in this case, it looks like Atlanta. Do Chicago and Atlanta play each other this year?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so either.
Well, if they do, it's going to be in the playoffs.
Exactly,
yeah.
And I think it will. And I still think the Bears are going to beat Atlanta. This may be the year Matt Ryan gets his first playoff win.
Maybe,
but it's not the year he goes to the Super Bowl.
Well, let's talk about another team that can potentially be in their way. How incredible did the Green Bay Packers look on Sunday night?
It looks like the Green Bay Packers of old, finally.
I will say this: Aaron Rodgers. I'm giving him a new nickname to all you comic book fans out there. I'm calling him the Hulk. Don't get this guy angry. You won't like him when he's angry.
The Packers won. Predicted by me brilliantly, by the way.
Hand it to you. That was
the Packers won because they weren't afraid.
They stood
Is
up.
Clay Matthews ever afraid?
They stood up to an undefeated Texans defense that looked so scary good. The 5 previous games that I think that was part of the whole undefeated myth. Is that you go up against this Texans defense and you're thinking to yourself, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, the entire time. And Aaron Rodgers and company strolled into town, heads held high, and said, you know what? No, we're not going to let you scare us. And that's exactly what they did. They steamrolled over the defense, and they made the Texans' defense look inept and Swiss cheesy.
The return of the fun fact. There were a lot of people talking about a specific statistic for the past couple of weeks. What was going to happen first? The Texans get their first loss, or the Browns get their first win? Same day! Last topic in regards to what happened last week. We all know that we love it when the sea chickens ruin our day. How would you feel if you were Tom Brady? Your entire week just got ruined by these guys.
I would feel lower than Death Valley, especially with the Seattle defense said to him after the game.
Yeah, that's actually one of my lessons learned. We'll get to that.
The collapse of dynasties. The Patriots and the Steelers this week. Look at what happened to those two teams.
They look like crap.
You know, both teams have a superstar quarterback, and they went up against teams that don't really have a superstar anywhere.
Yet.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even say yet.
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't even say yet.
I can't
They're working the teams that
maybe not Tennessee, but
the teams that beat the Steelers and the Patriots this weekend don't have any household names. They really don't. You'll be hard pressed to find the average NFL fan who can name somebody.
I mean, the biggest name on Tennessee is Chris Johnson, but he really hasn't lived
up
to it.
And then you've got Kenny Britt.
Not even Kenny, but the only reason he's famous is because he got arrested.
Yeah, a lot.
And then on Seattle, Sidney Rice is probably the best known name, and then
Marshawn Lynch. And if you're a Jets fan, you got Braylon Edwards and Leon Washington.
Oh my God, that's right.
You almost returned one.
That's why. Yeah, you know what? I still regret the Jets dropping Leon Washington.
Braylon too. I'll never understand why we let those two
I don't
go.
know why we...
we should have kept him.
Dropping
Braylon for Plaxico was one of the worst moves ever.
Braylon Edwards.
I think they should have kept both of them though. They
couldn't.
Braylon Edwards, Leon Washington, and Brad Smith. 3 names I'll never understand why the Jets let go.
John Abraham.
That was another one that just missed it.
Danny Woodhead.
Yeah.
Well, don't even get me started on Woodhead, and not even Jim Leonard too.
Duh.
Well.
Alrighty, so that basically, I guess, wraps up the current events of Week 6 in a nice little package.
Sure.
So before we go on to our picks, because I don't know, guys, Week 6 is just making me more hungry for Week 7.
Oh, boy.
So station identification, Captain, just go for it.
Faithful viewers, listeners, whomever you are, pay attention, because if you're watching us, you already know our station is Football Goulash.
Anyway, for all of you fantasy sports fans out there, if you've got anyone on the following teams this week: the Atlanta Falcons, the Denver Broncos, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Miami Dolphins, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the San Diego Chargers, keep all these players on your benches because this is probably the biggest bye week we've got. Unfortunately, ladies and gents, there is no belt this week, although I came pretty darn close. I would have to say, Mr. Beagle and we had a pretty good week this week as far as
you guys did. I have to hand it to you. Handshake all around for you guys. Seriously.
I had the best week out of the 3 of us so far this season.
And I was like, so far, yeah.
I was 10-4.
I think I was one loss behind you.
I'm sorry, fans of me, the captain.
There aren't many of them, by the way.
I let you down, guys.
You went
so
0-4.
I know, don't remind me.
Actually, you went 0-5 after 4 o'clock.
Oh my god!
You were saved by the Monday night game.
Yeah.
And did I not let you down with game of the week and the coin flip of the week?
That was a
rolled
good
into
look.
one.
It was a great game.
Rolled into one. I did not let anybody down there.
Expect after that halftime that game was going to go that way?
May.
They were basically saying that Monday night you saw 2 different football games.
Yeah. It's like watching any Super Bowl.
So Mr. Beagle and I are tied at 46 and 45, and the captain over there is at 45 and 46, not that far.
Man.
So let's begin with the picks, everybody. We're going to start with the Thursday night game, and I'm going to let you guys talk about it first.
No!
The Seattle Seahawks versus the San Francisco 49ers.
There is no God.
Okay. You know what? Last week when we recorded live on Thursday night, they kept pimping out the next Thursday night game, Seattle versus San Francisco. And I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, why should I care?
After this week?
I still don't really care all that much.
The media's having a field day.
The media can have all the field days it wants. I'm just not interested in this game.
Now without permission slips, they can't.
You know what? I'm going to give this to the 49ers because they are probably so very, very, very angry at being made to look like a bunch of clowns on the gridiron by the Giants. I think all of Seattle's chutzpah was used up last week.
Oh, wow.
So, 49ers are going to win this one. It's not going to be pretty, though.
The Seattle Seahawks so far this season have beaten Tony Romo. They've beaten Aaron Rodgers. They've beaten Tom Brady.
3 of the best quarterbacks in the game.
Yeah. So what do they do against a mediocre one? San Francisco wins.
You got a point there.
The Seahawks' advantage is lost when they're not at home. And Candlestick is a tough place to play.
As always.
Unless you're Eli Manning.
Yeah, that's one of my lessons learned. That's one of my lessons learned, all right.
So I'm going to go with San Francisco.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've got my coin flip of the week.
As it will be from now on.
Yes, I just want everybody to know that you saw what happened whenever I've picked a Seattle Seahawks game. So I'm not going to let the pick come from my head. I'm going to let my good friend Dwight D. Eisenhower do the work for me.
God, you're like a modern-day Harvey Dent.
That's a $50, by the way.
That is. It's huge. It's like the size of a hubcap.
Point here is that last week you picked the Seahawks and they actually
won.
Whereas previously, each time you picked them, they lost, and each time you didn't pick them, they won. Last week was actually an aberration compared to what happened previously.
Well, because like I didn't make the choice, the coin did.
It was the hand of God, you know?
So I'll let the hand of God jump in. So we're going to do it this way.
Whatever he wants, he keeps.
Yeah, so As always, the
Just
away
like my
team
virginity.
will be heads, so that's the Seattle Seahawks, and the home team will be tails, the San Francisco 49ers. Ladies and gentlemen,
Drum roll, please.
the 49ers.
Ooh, this ought to be interesting then.
Holy trifecta. Watch me all lose.
Oh man.
Okay, so now here's an even more
be
interesting
cruel.
game. All right, and we're all fans of this team here. The New York Jets versus the New England Patriots in Gillette Stadium. Captain?
What for us? Oh man, this is one of those games where I have seen from both teams, the Jets and the Patriots, moments of glory and then moments of utter wretchedness. You know, and both of these teams can't decide. I can't decide who will show up on the field. Will it be the good Jets or the bad Jets? Will it be, Tom Brady being the normal Tom Brady, or will actually he's always Tom Brady anyways.
Yeah.
It's the rest of his team that's kind of bad. But it's one of those that really it gives me the fits.
It grinds your gears.
It really grinds
Yeah,
my
this
gears.
one- yeah.
This
All
one,
these
this
teams
one's
are
tough.
okay
All right, I'm
numbers.
gonna let you two try and convince me because I really don't want a coin flip on this one.
Alrighty.
Patriots.
Patriots?
Yeah.
At Gillette Stadium.
I don't even need an explanation. Rex Ryan geared up this team specifically to play the Patriots. And each time he blusters each time he toots his own horn, blusters about saying, well, we're gonna walk in there and we're gonna show them who we are. Well, you know what? Go have a bacon cheeseburger because you're just gonna be able to sit there.
You do
and
have an
watch.
abysmal record when the Patriots are home, so...
It's not just that. It's just that I just don't see it, okay? I just don't see the Jets repeating what they did against the Colts. It's not even going to be close. Patriots are going to win by 2 touchdowns.
I wish that, I don't know what I want to bring to the table here. Do I want to bring the fan lawn gnome, or do I want to bring the non-biased commentating lawn gnome
Pick
here?
with the non-biased one, but you can give both sides. I think I'm just going to go with the Patriots already, because I don't want to say it's a no-brainer, but...
I mean, here's the thing that I've been noticing as far as the hype for this game. Rex Ryan he's going in there basically saying the same thing that he is, but he's saying it with a little bit less of a boisterous tone. Like, he's saying, yes, we know that there's a lot more at stake in this game. The AFC East, as a whole, is 500.
Yeah.
Whoever
3-3.
wins keeps the
Gets the
lead.
top.
Whoever loses goes to last place.
Yeah. Wow.
So your pick is?
That's a lot.
To be frank, I actually want to be a fan on this one, and I want to pick the Jets.
You know what? I hope you're right, man.
Because of the fact that I feel that now is the time for the Jets to put up or shut up. They showed me
It is.
what they had the potential to do against not such great teams, but they still have to show me that they are, in fact, a serious contending team that really wants to make a difference and save everybody's hides. I feel that Sanchez has a little bit more confidence now because he's got some of his offensive weapons back, and because of the fact that the Patriots are somewhat of a mess right now, they do not have a strong defense, and I feel that that's what's going to be the X factor here. It's not going to be about the scoring for the Jets. It's going to be about how many points they can keep the Patriots from scoring. I feel that we're going to see a lot of field goals. And I still feel that it's going to be a pretty damn close game because I just don't think the Patriots are what they used to be. I'm going to give it to the Jets as a fan.
I will say that if the Jets do win, they will be 3-0 in the division, which will put them
That's crazy.
in a
Very
great
good position.
I mean, if the Patriots win, I won't be surprised, but I just don't want that.
I hope
Keep
the
this
Jets
in mind,
win, man.
though. Wes Welker is to the Jets what Chipper Jones is to the Mets.
Well aware of that. But I wouldn't mind seeing Bart Scott just shellacking him a little bit, because that's what everyone else seems to try to do.
We'll see.
Let's go to, oh boy, here's my toilet bowl of the week, the Tennessee Titans against the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to start off with this one. You want to talk about an aberration? I think that the game against the Steelers that the Titans played, that was an aberration. I didn't expect what happened to happen. I don't think that Tennessee is a good team at all. Buffalo can show signs of greatness if they manage to try. Last Sunday, they did. It went into overtime, but they still managed to pull a win out of the hat. And I think that Buffalo is going to give the Patriots and the Jets, and yes, even the Dolphins, a little extra pressure I'm going to pick the Bills to win this game.
The Titans didn't win that game. The Steelers lost it. Tomlin
They kind of gave it away.
Miscoached it. Just for lack of a better reason, that's the only reason I'm going to pick the Bills.
It's going to be another trifecta. The Bills, only because we've seen flashes of greatness from the Bills. We haven't seen anything from the Titans except sloppy play, an almost useless Chris Johnson, ineffective Hasselbeck. There are just so many reasons to not pick the Titans that it becomes... It's not a choice to pick the Bills. You kind of have to.
The next game is the Cleveland Browns against the Indianapolis Colts. I'll tell you one thing. That game the Browns played, they really looked good. I think they're finally coming into their own and they're starting to click as a team. And I actually think that the Browns are going to go on a little bit of a winning streak, and I'm going to pick the Browns over the Colts this week. I still think that Reggie Wayne will have a good game on the Colts end, but I think that Whedon is going to get something done this week. Browns win.
The thing you gotta know is that the game is being played in Indianapolis. Since 1998, Peyton Manning has coddled and trained that fan base and that crowd to do exactly what he wanted. They were quiet when he was on offense. They were loud and ruckus when they were on defense.
It was a dome, too, so that thing echoed.
I don't see Cleveland putting up the same fight they did against Cincinnati in Indy. I'm going to pick the Colts.
For once, concerning the Cleveland Browns, I think I'm going to agree with the lawn gnome here. I think that's a first. I think the Browns are on a roll right now, and I don't know. I think the Browns' offense is a little more gelled together than the Colts right now. And again, it boils down to who's going to score more points. You know, because neither of their defenses is anything to sneeze at. So it's going to be the Browns, but it's going to be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's overtime, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. So comment, like, and subscribe, and at this point in time we're going to break away from the picks and go to one of our favorite segments with the notorious Mr. Beagle. It's time for a little get on the boat and get off the goat.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever the hell you are. On this edition of Get on the Boat and Get off the Goat, we focus on the highs and lows of Week 6. And we're going to take this literally this time. The highs, the boats. These go out to all the teams that came back to win. Seattle, Denver, Detroit,
wow,
Buffalo. These teams showed enormous resolve and coming together as a group. If you notice, not one of these teams that I mentioned has a real standout player. None of them have a Tom Brady. None of them have a Maurice Jones-Drew. None of them have an Eli Manning. They just knuckled down and did what they had to do to pull out a victory. They made the key plays at the key time and won. And on the other side of the coin are the GOATs, the teams that lost at the end. I'm talking about the San Diego Chargers, I'm talking about the New England Patriots, and I'm talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, who have a long history of losing in the fourth quarter. I don't know what it is. Maybe the number 4 scares them. Maybe that's why they let Kevin Kolb go, because he wears number 4.
Oh, boy.
You know, Alex Henry wears number 4 now, and he's not perfect the way he was last year. So, what is it? What are they so afraid of? Why are they playing so conservatively and so poorly in the fourth quarter? And a special note to the Patriots, who did exactly what they did in the Super Bowl last year, this past Sunday.
Yep.
The possible game-winning drive, incompletion. What is wrong with you? 99 times out of 100, you catch that ball. Why don't you catch it when it matters? My stat of the week, by the way. This past Sunday, the Detroit Lions beat the Philadelphia Eagles. For the first time in 26 years.
Wait, you're kidding me.
Really?
Nope.
Wow.
I love these
many times
stats.
have-
I love these stats of the week.
In the past 27 years.
Once every 3 or 4 years.
Good lord.
Oh my god.
Wow.
26 years. So it's 2012, which means It was 1986.
Okay, I was 2 when that happened, when they last beat the...
It was 1986.
That was the year we met.
I was 2
No, we
years
met
old.
85, 86.
My goodness.
I was 5 years old. You were 5 years old, and you were 2.
I was 2.
You were still in your training shorts.
Yeah, I probably was, man.
You were, in fact, eating your shoes.
Yeah.
Wow, what a crazy stat.
That's ridiculous.
And that is, get on the boat, get off the goat. Mr. Gnome?
Thank you so much for that. That stat just officially made my evening of fun facts.
Mind exploded.
So let's continue with the picks. We're going to go with the Green Bay Packers versus the St. Louis Rams. I'm just going to say this. St. Louis's momentum was officially taken away from them this week. And I just don't see them managing to pick it back up against a team that looked unstoppable on Sunday night in the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is angry. You got the Hulk, and you got the Thing in Clay Matthews. There's nobody that wants to have some clobbering time more than Clay Matthews. So as far as I'm concerned, Green Bay is going to, and I'm going to quote the captain on this one, steamroll all over these poor Rams.
B.J. Raji is going to be back this week.
Yeah.
You know, what can I say? The Pack Attack is back, Jack.
And on that note, the Packers are going to win this one because apparently Aaron Rodgers decided to wake up from whatever collective nap he and the rest of his offense have been in for the past 6 weeks and completely obliterated the defense. The Packers are on a roll, and they're going to continue that roll, and they're finally going to get a winning record. So, Packers.
The next game that we're going to go take a look at is the Arizona Cardinals against the Minnesota Vikings.
What?
Yeah, that's me, and I realize that I may have made a huge mistake. And you know why? Because I completely forgot the fact that Kevin Cobb was out.
Yes, he is.
But we don't know exactly
Indefinitely.
we don't know if he's down and out. He only suffered a bruised rib.
Dude, I've suffered a bruised rib. It hurts like a
You're not conditioned like an NFL quarterback.
And let's not forget the fact that in week 2 of last year's season, Tony Romo went on the field in a Kevlar vest after having 2 broken ribs in week 1.
So did
I did well.
And did well. So
and then Vic donned the Kevlar vest and did terribly.
So as far as I'm
He's a terrible
concerned,
quarterback.
if Cobb is going to get back onto the field, then Arizona is going to definitely be in contention. The Vikings, again, say what you will about them, they're the real deal right now. They may have suffered a loss last week, but I still feel that there's so much more from them to give. And as far as these two teams facing each other, it's going to be super pass happy. It's going to be an exciting, fun, high-scoring, close game. And I am going to give this win to the Minnesota Vikings. Because I feel that they want to defend the top spot in the NFC North right now, which they have.
I'm going to go along with you and say the Vikings as well. Their defense is better than the Cardinals' offense. They're at home, and I just think that, I think you're right. I think they want to make a statement and say that, hey, we're here to stay. You know, they still put up 26 points against the Redskins this past week.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals didn't put up 26 points.
What more can be said? You know,
Your pick.
Oh, besides that, I mean, you guys really covered the bases, and I mean, I'm picking the Vikings. It's going to be another trifecta, that's for certain. But if there's anything else to add, I don't know what. The Vikings are home, like you guys said. They're trying to make a statement here. I think the NFC North is the toughest division in football right now because each of those teams is a legitimate threat. And you look at the Vikings, and they still play well despite losing.
That's true. But let's not also forget the fact that Arizona is still very much relevant in a division that is so freaking close to one another.
I think it is a complete fluke. And
really?
By the middle of the season and by the last half of the season, we'll see the NFC West's true colors. And it's going to be below 500.
I don't think all the teams.
That's what I say. I think
Arizona and St. Louis, maybe.
With the exception of San Francisco, all the teams are going to be 500 or worse by the end of the...
Never underestimate Pete Carroll.
I'm sorry. I don't trust the guy.
Let's see what happens. I just think it's going to be a fun game. That's why I pick it. The next game is the Washington Redskins against the New York Giants.
Ooh.
that would be Mr. Beagle. It's the Redskins versus the Giants in the Meadowlands. This is the quintessential classic game in all of football.
The Giants have had 3 of those in a row.
Yeah, that's...
No. But this is Giants-Redskins. Rivalries don't get better than this.
It's a lifelong rivalry right there.
More recently, the Giants have been feuding with the Eagles, but traditionally, Lawrence Taylor versus Joe Theismann. Come on.
Early 90s NFL.
Oh,
Come on.
man.
Early 90s NFL was owned by the NFC East.
That
Yes.
hit.
And that's one of those, yeah.
And true that game, that infamous game took place in D.C.
Yes.
But
that was horrifying,
the
actually.
Big Blue versus the Gaudy Red, it's going to be a hard-hitting, pounding game. RG3 versus the Giants secondary and the Giants a defensive line. It's gonna be epic. There are gonna be mushroom clouds above MetLife Stadium.
Who gets the victory, sir?
Ooh,
Yeah.
this is very, very close to call, quite honestly. I am very tempted to do a coin flip on this, but I'm not.
Oh!
I told you I never will.
No.
It's all gonna be based on facts. And Madden 13.
Feel you.
This game is going to go to the New York Giants.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one at first seemed like a no-brainer. And then I looked down and see what I checked, which team I checked off. I really, really scrutinized. Why did I think the Giants can win? And then I said to myself, oh, easy, because Eli Manning is quartering. And then the other half of me said, oh, but RG3 is quartering also, and he's really good. It's going to come down to defense, and the Giants' defense proves more often than not that it can get the job done. And that's why the Giants are still going to win this game.
Gentlemen, the fun fact of our evening, is the fact that last season, the Giants, the Super Bowl championship winning Giants, faced the Redskins twice last year, and they lost.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Yep.
As far as I'm concerned, everything that you guys said about the Giants is accurate and true. It's Eli Manning, it's MetLife Stadium, it's, time to do what the Giants do best. But again,
I see where this one's going.
I just can't get over how awesome Robert Griffin III has made this Washington Redskins team.
It's funny that one of the main storylines from earlier in the season was who's going to win the Rookie of the Year trophy, and the two names most people spouted off were RG3 and Andrew Luck. Right now, Andrew Luck's out of the picture. It's RG3 with a tenuous lead with Trent Richardson, and hey, I'm not even ashamed to say it, Ryan Tannehill is putting up some impressive
we all believe in Tannehill at this point in time.
It's not just stats. Okay, Tannehill seems to have the stuff that the Dolphins need. So
but
that's a little sidebar.
Here's the thing. I am actually going to stick with the Giants just because of the fact that we saw what happened last week. Never underestimate the power of a Manning. And I don't think that RG3 is going to manage to figure him out just yet. He'll take a little bit of time. I have a feeling that they will lose this game, but mark my words, Washington will win the next game.
What a twist!
The New Orleans Saints against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I am actually going to agree with what Mr. Beagles said about the Saints when they played against San Diego 2 weeks ago. After this game, you're going to see a completely different New Orleans Saints team. Mind you that the Buccaneers are, in fact, in one of the top spots in the NFC South right now. Crazily enough.
NFC South is the worst division in all football.
It is.
AFC South.
NFC
South.
They should play
South.
against each other, seriously.
Well,
You got the Panthers, the Saints, and the
the
Bucks,
Bucks.
who have combined for 4 wins.
but I still don't think that New Orleans is a bad team.
New Orleans is
The
not
Falcons
a bad team.
Falcons are gonna win the NFC
They're
South
going to
by
run away with
Thanksgiving.
that one. Yeah. Falcons going to run away with it.
Well, I still feel that at this point in time, we're going to see that new rebirth in the New Orleans Saints, and they're going to take Tampa Bay to the house. Saints win.
This one seemed like a no-brainer. Tampa Bay is a terrible team that they're not fun to watch. They don't have any spirit. They don't win games, that's for sure.
Unless they're playing teams that are worse than them.
Yeah, which is, there's like 2 of them out there?
Well, they just lost. They just beat the Chiefs.
Exactly. The Chiefs are the worst team in the NFL. Having said that, Drew Brees is going to have another career day and just completely obliterate the Buccaneers. Saints win.
Fun fact about the Chiefs-Bucks game this past week. It was blacked out in Tampa.
I can believe that.
The only way you could have watched it is if you had the NFL Game Day package on DirecTV or Dish or whatever your cable subscriber is, or you're watching Red Zone.
Well, they took our advice, and because it was all 3 of ours toilet bowl of the week last week.
Yes, it was.
Everybody avoided it, even Tampa Bay.
Oh, by the way, Saints win. Josh Freeman will not be a starter next year.
Comment, like, and subscribe, and we're going to go to our next segment as we break away from the picks, and I have to say I am extremely excited. Captain Shenanigans, lessons learned. Please begin, sir.
Folks, welcome. Thanks for listening. As always, faithful viewers and fans of the Captain out there, I have to give a shout out to. Thanks for sticking with me, even through that horrible, horrible week last week. Anyways, this is Lessons Learned, week number 7. First lesson learned. It seems like every team is 3-3 so far. Therefore, your team is terrible, but they're also good. Go figure. Lesson number 2. Defense! Defense. That is the name of the game. I don't care who you are or who you have on offense right now. Last week proved that defense is top-notch. You have to have it, man. You have to. And I'm looking at the Bills and the Texans respectively, because this is the first time all season for those respective teams that I've seen the defense show up and the defense starting to take a nap in midfield. Okay? And speaking of defense, we mentioned it earlier, but the Eagles have been so terrible with defense lately. 2 games in a row blown in the fourth quarter due to terrible, god-awful, puke in the buckets defense. The Eagles have fired their defensive coordinator, and that does not bode well for the Eagles. Actually, it's probably a blessing in disguise. But then again, it's always been offense sells the tickets, defense wins the games. Period. Okay? Lesson number 3, and this is also a repeat lesson because apparently you guys aren't paying attention. Never underestimate a Manning. Whether his first name is Peyton or Eli, he'll come through in the end, and he'll make his team better for it. Number 4, and this one's kind of funny. I enjoyed writing this one. Is Tom Brady the douchiest person in football? Most people in America, including his teammates, say yes. We've already heard Wes Welker speak out this season, and we've already heard that most of his linemen are very, very underwhelmed with Brady's performance this season so far. Also, a shout out to Sherman. Thank you for speaking out. Lesson number 5. Ooh. Winning one game doesn't save your season, especially this early in the season, nor should your job be safe because of one game's amazing performance. And I'm looking at several players in particular, namely Mark Sanchez and Sean Green, Russell Wilson. You know, yes, you've had a fantastic win, and you looked pretty dominant doing so. But one game does not mean that your job is still safe. Okay? You should still be on the hot seat. I want to see players like those give me 2 good games in a row. Maybe that makes me selfish, and maybe that makes me unrealistic. But if I demand that starters should have 2 good games in a row, call me crazy.
Eli Manning. There's your answer.
And this week, special for all you folks out there, we have 2 bonus lessons learned.
I'm excited.
The first bonus lesson is it was announced today that the Vikings are to host the Pittsburgh Steelers in London in the year 2013. My question is, does anyone care? Seriously. I don't think anybody wants to watch that except Steelers or Vikings fans. who can't even be in attendance because it's going to be across the pond. Second bonus lesson is, you mad, bro? Come on, guys, you got to know that one.
That
was the tweet that Sherman sent to everyone on his list. It was a picture of him mouthing off to a crying Tom Brady after the game, and the caption reads, "You mad, bro?" That is a lesson learned. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was me, Captain Shenanigans, and that was Lessons Learned. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Please, guys, if you're not commenting or subscribing or liking any of what you just heard, shame on you. Let's go with the next game. Oh boy, here's going to be a fun one to watch. The Dallas Cowboys against the Carolina Panthers. I guess to sum it up before I ask you guys to give us your picks, I guess the question is, who has more head garbage in this game? Is it Cam Newton or is it Tony Romo here?
Well, the Panthers had the week off last week, right?
Yeah.
And the Cowboys
2 weeks ago.
Baltimore.
Lost to Baltimore. Ah, that's right. That being said, I think the Cowboys can show up at least once more this season. The Panthers just don't have what it takes to win games. You know, they haven't gelled as a team. I think Cam Newton is still he's still so much fun to watch, and he does put up impressive numbers, but it's not enough to beat a Cowboys team that really wants to prove themselves at this point. So, Dallas with the win.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to say Dallas with the win also. They're not a bad team. They've been playing really well. I think mostly the games that they've lost is more to the fact of the great play of their opponents. There's really nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
You know?
Very much so.
Great defense cannot stop awesome offense. You know what? Romo's not a bad quarterback. He's not as good as he was last year, I think, but he's still not a bad quarterback. I still think Dallas will win this.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, if the Panthers actually manage to win this one, next week during the show I'm going to yell, Stella's got his groove back. But, it's a trifecta, guys. I just don't see the... Look, to me, I still think the Cowboys are dreadful. At least they're just play... Unless they're a good team, but they just can't figure out how to play football.
Their record belies the actual gameplay.
But as far as I'm concerned, I just don't think they're that bad to lose to a team like Carolina. Cowboys with the win. The next game is the Baltimore Ravens against the Houston Texans.
Oh, man.
Mr. Beagle.
These are two teams who have had defensive impacts as far as injuries. This was a real head-scratcher. This went back up for Game of the Week. It's going to be a really interesting game. The thing, though, is that the Texans have the eventual Defensive Player of the Year in J.J. Watt, or as he should be called, J.J. SWAT. The win goes to the planet Houston.
Wow. You know what? I'll agree with that. Right now the Ravens, they're a good team, and they're always a legitimate threat, especially with their defense. But with so many key players missing, and Lewis and Suggs, you don't have those three, and they are the leaders of a scary defense. This is another one of those games that it's going to come down to defense. You know, I'm going to give it to the Texans.
As far as I'm concerned, here's the problem with Baltimore. Suggs is still out, though they're saying that there's a good chance that he may start going back on the field to practice again
stuff
very soon. Right. So that's a positive for the time being. Ladarius Webb out. Ray Lewis out. Haloti Nada possibly not playing next week. Questionable.
Yeah, questionable, yeah.
We'll find out Thursday.
So that's 4 major defensive losses for this team. I feel that the win is going to go to Houston this week just because of the fact that Baltimore is now basically looking at themselves this week saying, what do we do? Figure out a plan B for the rest of the season. So for now, I just don't think that Baltimore's going to be able to get it done.
If
Texans
they lose,
win.
They're going to have to hit the panic button.
It's also because of the fact that if you take a look at both of these teams from an offensive perspective, Houston is just better, I think. The next game is going to be Jacksonville Jaguars against the Oakland Raiders. Which team is worse?
This is my toilet bowl of the week. This is going to be terrible. Unless you're a Jaguar or Raiders fan, and there's apparently not a whole lot of you out there, avoid this game at all costs, unless you have a bucket right next to you.
Yeah.
I'm picking the Raiders to win only because they're less horrifyingly bad at football. So
I actually think I may go with Jacksonville this time around.
Last time you said that,
They almost won.
but they still lost.
Yeah.
I know, but the question is, like, which team is just that much worse? I don't know.
I would say
I just have a feeling that I just have a feeling that if I pick the Raiders this time, I just have a strange feeling they're not winning.
You know what? The Raiders have one advantage over most teams, and his name rhymes with Sebastian Anikowski. So
That's a stretch.
I mean,
Yeah,
look,
right.
if Palmer can practically use the Triple D threat in Denarius Moore, Darren McFadden, and Darius Haywood Bay, then maybe they've got a shot. Fine. Raiders.
oh crap!
No, we may do another trifecta here.
Unless
I'm looking at this game. And I'm,
Oh
Yo!
my God, come on!
Do it!
I'm looking at this game, the matchup, and I'm looking at this coin, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing? Hey, I want to pick the Raiders.
oh.
Raiders have almost won a couple of games, and I think they finally will against the Jags.
Alright, so comment, like, and subscribe, and don't forget that our channel's name is Football Goulash, and
Without the H.
I'm just gonna get right to it. Pete Carroll is a genius. Look at this team. Russell Wilson at QB, a special team led by ex-Jet Leon Washington, Sidney Rice, Marshawn Lynch, Braylon Edwards, the defense. I mean, these guys are not a fantastic team on paper. But apparently on the field, Pete Carroll makes them act like nothing can stop them. One thing that he does best is he instills tremendous confidence in his players. When they're on the field, if you think about it, they are actually one of the most patient teams. They know what they need to do when they need to do it, and so far they've shut down the following squads: the Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, and just this past Sunday, the New England Patriots. Now, it originally looked like the worst game to start off Week 7 this Thursday in the Seahawks versus the 49ers, just in case you didn't know. This is now one of the most anticipated games of the week by the sports media. Why? Because it's the Seahawks being the Seahawks. Love them or hate them, we want to see what they'll do next. Honorable mentions: Sean Green, RG3, Aaron Rodgers, Mike Williams of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and of course Brandon Weeden for giving the Browns their first win of the season on his 29th birthday. The bust of the week? The Pittsburgh Steelers. Tennessee? You lost to Tennessee?
That was embarrassing for everyone.
Really?
involved. That really was. It was
Dishonorable mentions Michael Vick again.
fumbled.
And Tom Brady for going into the corner and crying.
Oh, he wept like a little girl.
And that is my hero and bust of week
I think
6. So let's go to the last two games, guys, and as always, they are the Sunday night game and the Monday night game. The Sunday night game this week, folks, is the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Cincinnati Bengals.
This is my toilet bowl of the week. This is just going to be a kerfuffle of epic proportions. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be good, and it's not going to be a real game.
if it's anything like...
It'd be more entertaining if a squadron of B-52s would bomb the place.
Poof!
I do like explosions, so that would be really...
I don't want anybody to die, though.
And I like Michael Bay when it comes to explosions.
Explosion!
He demands things to be awesome.
So do I.
Awesome Steeler, awesome Bengal, and they both explode.
Who gets the victory, Mr. Beagle?
Oh, no. Why'd you have to ask me that question?
Well, we gotta have a pick here.
We're obliged.
Cincinnati.
Whoa! Okay. I can't,
Just because Palomelo's still hurt, Cincinnati plays well, even when they lose.
They do. This was a runner-up for Toilet Bowl of the Week, and I can't pick a winner because the Steelers have been bad, but the Bengals are what? They're 3-3, right?
Also, I think 500.
Yeah, they're 500, but I've seen better football out of the Bengals and the Steelers, especially lately. I'm really debating, faithful viewers, if this is a coin flip or not. I got the coin. I literally got the coin in my hand. It's going to be the coin flip of the week. All right. As always, heads is the visitors. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Home is the Bengals, so they will be tails. And the pick is the Steelers. Whoo, boy.
Never thought you'd ever pick the Steelers.
I don't want to, but the hand of God is telling me to, so.
That makes two of us.
Woo! Wait, you actually have a reason?
I actually have a reason, believe it or not. And the reason is because of the fact that the Steelers are just infuriated with the fact that they let one go to Tennessee. This is like a group of 5th graders being scolded by their teacher for cheating on a test. It's like, you do not do that. Not to Tennessee. As far as I'm concerned, and especially considering that this is a division rivalry game, the Steelers are going to pick their game up with or without Polamalu. It won't matter. The Steelers are going to come out guns blazing, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of the guys on Cincinnati gets hurt. Steelers.
Man, that was...
They're gonna. It's not gonna be a blowout game, but some heads are gonna be busted. And the Monday night game, and I think I have a feeling what's gonna happen after I announce it: the Detroit Lions versus the Chicago Bears.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was your captain speaking. Ringing? Sure. Anyways, this is the game of the week to watch: Lions and Bears. Fortunately, no Tigers.
Yeah, because the Bengals played Sunday night.
Yeah, they played Sunday. Oh my. Anyways, Lions and Bears. This one has so much history behind it. It's another one of those divisional matchups right now, and both teams want to prove that they are on the top of the mountain in the NFC North. I'm going to give the win to the Bears because they are the superior team, but oh boy, you guys are going to want to watch this game. It's going to be a highlight reel. The entire game is going to be one long highlight reel, and it's going to be so much fun to watch. Bears win.
Except for Calvin Johnson, Lions don't really have anybody who's playing at a high level. Not even Stafford is playing at the level he showed last year. This is going to be a walkover for the Bears. You know, I remember last year when both teams were very good. This is before Jay Cutler got hurt. Yeah. They touted this game as a Coliseum battle. Lions and Bears. Right now, I think it's more like, you know, the United States Army versus Guam. It's not even going to be close. This is one of the worst Monday Night Football games of the season.
Wow.
Bears are going to dominate.
I don't think it's going to be a dominating game. Soldier Field will be turned into a frickin' war zone, that's for sure. Detroit's not going to win. I'm saying that right now. The Bears are winning.
I think they're going to put up
because of the fact that, yes, the Bears are on a bye, but that's irrelevant. The Bears are just sitting pretty at the top of their division, and they just saw what happened in Green Bay, and they saw what happened in Detroit. They've been watching their entire division relatively carefully, and they know that they got to defend that top spot.
Number one threat in America?
Bears. The Lions are going to put up a fight, though. I think that Stafford will still have a good game because, again, he's one of my top 10 quarterbacks. I don't think he's going to have a crap game. But while it will be close and it will be a high-scoring game, it's going to be the Bears on top. The Bears are going to keep that top spot in the NFC North. No doubt. No doubt.
Wait, so how many trifectas do we have this week?
I'll tell you right now. Yeah.
Jeez, man.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9. Wow.
9 out of 13.
9 out of 13. And this is the smallest amount of games that we're having a week of football.
I would not be surprised if we all had the same record by the week's end. Yeah.
So that wraps up Week 7, everybody. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to our show.
Football goulash.
If you do have a question, I would like to read a question on air and then answer it. So please let me know if you have a question.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, please. We'd really like to know.
Anything. It doesn't even have to be about football.
So, of course, for the notorious Mr. Beagle and Captain Shenanigans, I am the Lawn Gnome leaving you with a question. Collapsed dynasties. With what happened to Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger in Week 6, do you guys feel that they're done? Or do you still feel that these two gentlemen still have some fight left in them to still be what they used to be? I am the Lawn Gnome, reminding you that actions speak louder than words.
You know you want to.
Come on, man.
You know you want to.
I do want to.
Come on, man. Just take a hit. First one's always free. Just gotta call the Candyman afterwards. Candyman!